What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Here in today's video, I'll be doing my takeaways from the Baltimore Ravens versus Buffalo Bills divisional round matchup that took place on Saturday night. So, the first, big thing about this whole game, a lot of people I think saw it in my first video that I did. I did a preview for the game. If you haven't seen that yet, you can go click the link in this description. I'll link it. And yeah, I kind of gave a preview, and my preview actually, there were some points that I made that really had an impact on this game. But the main thing was turnovers. I stated Lamar Jackson had like 49 touchdowns and 0 interceptions inside of the red zone throughout his career in the NFL, which was an incredible stat. And the big play and game changer for this game as a whole was the interception that Lamar Jackson threw when the Ravens were at the 10-yard line on 3rd and goal, where Teron Johnson actually intercepted the ball at the goal line and returned it for a touchdown and really just changed the whole game. It gave the Bills a 14-point lead, and if the Ravens would have been able to punch in a touchdown there or even get a field goal, it would have been still a one-score game. So it was definitely tough for Ravens fans to see that, that play just changed the game. And, as a whole, the Bills defense, the way they played changed this game. I said whatever team I thought turned the ball over more would end up losing. The Bills offense turned it over 0 times and the Ravens turned it over once. It was really tough one. It was like I said, it was in the red zone, third and long, 3rd and goal from your opponent's 10. You're trying to get a touchdown there. You don't want to throw anything too short. You want to make a play. And Lamar just had a really bad read. It happens with quarterbacks. That's what happened. And then, the guy returns it for 100 yards. So that was really the main point of this game, that interception, really, to be honest, because neither team really did too much on offense. The Bills kind of never really panicked on offense and were having their own way. Josh Allen got sacked and stripped the one time, and the Ravens couldn't recover it, so the Bills still ended up getting a punt off. But the main play from this game was the interception and return for a touchdown. That was the changer of the entire game. And like I said, if either team, I literally said in the preview, if either team could force a turnover and return it for points, that will change the game. That actually was what happened. I was expecting a lot more of a higher scoring game. Both of these offenses, I really thought were going to do well against the other team's defense, but that was not the case. The Ravens ended up giving up 17 points, but 7 of those were from the offense, and then the 10, there was a field goal early, and then the touchdown, which right out of halftime, just that was another big drive to change the game. I didn't even talk about yet. The way the Bills came out of halftime was just great for them. They did everything they wanted. They were throwing the ball underneath, and the Ravens cornerbacks were playing so far off. The Bills were having their own way with that, and they actually ran the ball a few times, which we really did not see them do at all throughout the entire game. But we saw them throw the ball underneath, starting to pick the Ravens corners apart. And, the Ravens made some adjustments when they finally got back on defense and didn't let that happen as much, but the Bills were having their way. Stefan Diggs, another major game. It was kind of confusing. I didn't really get the coverage they had on Diggs. You can't let your number one corner guard number one wide receiver all game. That just usually doesn't happen. Like matchups like Jalen Ramsey and DK Metcalf. Ramsey guards him a lot throughout most of the game, but the whole game he is not guarding him. There's different schemes. The NFL defenses always run different schemes. Like the Ravens weren't going to have Marlon Humphrey on them all game. They could have, but they didn't. But it was kind of surprising to see the guys they had on him, especially in some certain moments. We saw 3rd and long for the Bills, and this was when it was still a one-score game. And the Ravens, I'm not exactly sure why put Jimmy Smith, who Jimmy Smith has played great all year. Don't get me wrong. Jimmy Smith's been having a good year against some tight ends. He's been guarding some 2 and 3 wide receivers, but Jimmy Smith was lined up in front of Stefan Diggs on 3rd and long. And that to me just really doesn't make sense. I think your defense has a much better chance of getting a stop if Marlon Humphrey's guarding Stefan Diggs there versus Jimmy Smith. But the Ravens must have saw something I didn't, or something I'm not exactly sure, but that was definitely tough for the Ravens. And watching the game, I just was kind of confused. I didn't really get why that was the way they played it. But That's how they played it, and that's what it was. Um, Josh Allen Josh Allen played well. The stats might not look that way. He had the one overthrow of Stefan Diggs, but the wind was bad. If he'd have made that throw, the game would have been over much earlier. But the one overthrow was tough. They probably had a touchdown if they definitely had a touchdown if that ball's in the basket, but he just missed him on the overthrow. And like I said, the wind was really bad. But other than that, the way Josh Allen got out of pressure all game was the difference between the Ravens all defense getting some stops, especially on the touchdown drive. There were a lot of times where you saw Matthew Judon or Tyus Bowser or guys like that in the backfield with a chance to maybe bring Josh Allen down or force a throwaway, and I said this in the preview as well, giving Josh Allen time and chances to make a play and not containing him, which was a huge factor in this game. That changes the game. The Ravens had some issues containing him. He would fake inside and get to the outside, and we know Josh Allen can make plays with his feet. Got outside, kept the play alive, made a great throw. That was a huge difference in this game as well. Josh Allen, his ability to make plays and the Ravens just not containing him as well as they should have. That really hurt the Ravens, and it helped the Bills a ton. Really helped the Bills keep drives going. The one time the Ravens got a sack, Bills had a second and long, then Josh Allen makes a play. So it was definitely just a tough one for the Ravens. And that whole talk about Josh Allen playing well, the Ravens defense still played very well. The Ravens defense deserves a lot of credit, I believe. Only allowing 10 points, because like I said before, they allowed 17 as a team, but the interception and return for a touchdown does not count against the defense. It just counts against the team. So, they allowed 10 true points, and with an offense as dynamic and good as the Ravens offense should be and has been, they really should have won the game, if they could have produced some points or some better drives. Now, getting into that, the next point, the kickers. I'll get into that in a minute, but the Ravens obviously and the Bills would have scored more points if some kickers made kicks. But like I said, it was wind and all that. So the Ravens, the Bills defense, that was just crazy what they did. They contained Lamar Jackson, kind of like I said the Ravens needed to do for Josh Allen. But even better, there were still some plays Lamar got out of the pocket. The one holding call really, really hurt the Ravens. They still picked up the first down on that drive and on that, set of plays, but it was still tough because, yeah, that was a holding. You could see his jersey, but they could have called that all night, and the officiating was very bad. Don't get me wrong. That didn't change the outcome of the game whatsoever. The Bills still would have beat the Ravens, whatever officiating, but the officiating was definitely terrible. The roughing the passer on Josh Allen, I could go on and on about how bad of a call that is. And, a lot of people who weren't really, I guess, fans of either team, kind of were like, that's funny, Josh Allen deserves an Oscar for flopping or whatever. Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, like, this is an NFL game. You can't, I don't understand how you make a call like that in the game. And it's definitely going to make some people angry, actual fans of one of these teams. That's really going to frustrate them. And something's got to be changed. NFL officiating has been horrible all year for all teams. And I don't know if it's just my opinion or what, but I feel like throughout all the years that I've been watching football, this has been the worst. The officials, besides the year of the replacement referees, don't get me wrong, but the officials this year have really been horrible for all teams. And there's a number of moments I could go back to, but just, yeah, the officiating was terrible. But like I said, Lamar being contained to change the whole game. I said I thought if the Ravens threw the ball down the field a little bit more in the preview, I thought that would have some success, which it did. Hollywood Brown made a ton of plays down the field, and the Ravens really could have made more, but the problem was the Bills' pressure they were bringing. The Bills scheme both offensively and defensively, not as much offensively, but the Bills scheme was incredible. That really was great. The blitzes they were bringing at the Ravens, it was really throwing Ravens offensive linemen off. It was throwing Ravens running backs off. Some running backs missed some blocks, and that really hurt the Ravens. But getting pressure on Lamar like that really changed the game. One throw, for example, Mark Andrews was wide open, which would have been a first down. While the Ravens, I think, were still down 7 or one score. I'm not exactly, can't really remember, but he had Mark Andrews wide open. Some pressure gets on him, and he kind of underthrew it. But the problem was the pressure. It was so quick. Lamar was getting pressured all game, and the Ravens' offensive line really did play poorly. And then before I get into the next point about the kickers, the center for the Ravens, Patrick McCarry, had been having an up and down year. I felt like he wasn't getting as much credit as he deserved, because he'd been playing pretty good. But tonight definitely had a major impact. Like I said before, with the Bills getting that type of pressure, every snap, the Ravens always go to shotgun. That's what the Ravens do. So every snap being high or low or to the side really hurt the Ravens. And it wasn't just a few. It was literally like every snap, it wasn't accurate. And that threw Lamar off a little bit. And like I said, with that Bills front and the Bills bringing safeties and corners and the defensive ends that were just getting after the Ravens, that changed the game. The one time the Ravens were trying to run an option, they were down near the goal line, and the snap was over Lamar's head to his right. Then he faked the handoff to J.K. Dobbins and got to the outside, but that changed the game because then that read's not really coming for Lamar. Lamar's just faking the handoff and going because he doesn't even have time to read it because of the pressure that's coming on to him. So the center for the Ravens, this will be in another video I do. The Ravens absolutely need a new center and maybe even some other interior offensive linemen, but I'll be doing that in another video when I start kind of doing my draft expectations and projections. But it was just really unacceptable the way McCarry played. Now, granted, the weather was tough. It was really cold. Like I said, it was windy. But every single snap, being to the side or being above or being low, and the snap ended up getting Lamar Jackson hurt. That definitely had a factor in the game. It would have been really tough for the Ravens to come back. And we also would have seen the Bills kind of play it differently on offense if the Ravens were still posing a threat late. But we didn't see that. The Ravens had some missed opportunities late once Tyler Huntley came in, and that just kind of hurt the Ravens. But like I said, the center got Lamar Jackson, basically got him hurt. I'm not blaming it on the center. It's the game of football. Anything can happen. But bad snap, fumble. Lamar Jackson goes and picks it up, gets hit hard, head hits the ground, and he has a concussion. This is also when the Ravens were down 14, coming off an interception, needed a great drive here to really put yourself back into the game. And then you have a fumbled snap that results in putting the Ravens at the 2-yard line and Lamar Jackson being out for the game. That's the interception was the number one, like I said before, the number one difference maker in the game that changed the whole game. But after that, anything else that would have changed the game would have been a Ravens touchdown there. That fumble or that bad snap and Lamar Jackson getting hurt really put any Ravens hope that anybody had, on social media. I saw a lot of Ravens fans and people tweeting, well, that's probably the game, which it was. It was just tough. The Ravens definitely still could have came back. That fourth quarter was pretty crazy. Some opportunities that the Ravens had, the fans definitely didn't think they would. But just that injury and that snap there was just a killer for all Ravens confidence. Now, moving into the kickers. First off, when I get to this point, no Justin Tucker slander. No, he's the greatest kicker of all time, in my opinion. And, for somebody to kind of go against that, it just would be wrong. You can't tell me there's a better kicker in the NFL right now, better than Justin Tucker. And all time, there's arguments, but I just believe Justin Tucker is the greatest kicker of all time. He's definitely the best kicker in the NFL right now. Tyler Bass, one of the best kickers in the NFL right now, and he's just a rookie. He missed 2 short kicks as well, one wide left and the other wide right. You could tell the weather. They put on NBC on the game the goalpost swinging back and forth. That's just like that's the weather. There's nothing really you can do. Both of Tucker's kicks hit the upright, and almost went in. It was just tough. It was a tough night for him. But then before halftime, he comes in and puts one through, ties the game up 3-3 at halftime. That was big for him. And we didn't get to see him come back on the field again because the Ravens had to go for it and were trying to do other things. But it was just tough, and a lot of people were kind of all halftime on Twitter and some social media apps, it was the Ravens should be up 9-3 right now. The Ravens should be up 9-3. The Ravens got to stop playing for field goals. There were just some plays late in the first quarter and the second quarter where it kind of baffled me, the play call. I will never understand when you have 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and long, anything, why guys are running routes shorter than the first down mark. And that is not on the wide receivers. Like, that. That is not on the wide receivers. That is the play calling. And my next and final point will be about Greg Roman. But why do you have guys not running routes past the first down mark? You obviously have guys who can break tackles. J.K. Dobbins, he had a tough night. He dropped a few passes, but a few of those passes actually could have resulted in big first downs or big points, but he still made some plays that the Ravens needed him to. And he had a tough night catching the ball, like I said, but Dobbins has been crucial for the Ravens all year in making this postseason run and run to the postseason that they did. But like I said, you will not pick up a first down unless you have guys running past the first down markers. So I'm not saying, my feeling is Greg Roman should be fired. The Ravens should move on from him. With a guy like Lamar and the offense that the Ravens have, I feel like the Ravens should be getting way more out of their offense than they have. It's really unacceptable to come into a AFC divisional playoff game that has a lot of hype around it and score 3 points. That's bad. That's really bad. So looking forward, I definitely think the Ravens will need to move on from Greg Roman. And that kind of leads me into my next point. The Bills really outcoached the Ravens. Leslie Frazier and that defense came ready to play, like I said before, contained Lamar Jackson, like I said before, and just played great football all game. At no point in the Titans game versus the Ravens, the main reason the Ravens got back into the game when they did is because the Titans, didn't really contain Lamar Jackson on his touchdown run, and that changed the game. The Bills at no point tonight really lost containment. On the one penalty, like I said before, they did, and a few of his other runs, but it seemed like Lamar was not going to have his way running the ball, and he was going to have to beat them throwing it, which he could have. And there were a lot of different plays in this game, but it was just insane to me. The Bills had a ton of guys lined up in the box, and they were taking away the run. They were challenging the Ravens to throw the ball deep. Greg Roman just wouldn't go for it. He had to run the ball up the middle and punch up the middle when it was clear they were going to be running it. He had to run the options. It was 3rd and long or 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and he's still running the ball. Let Lamar throw it. Lamar made a lot of plays with his arms tonight. And I think, I'm not exactly sure if this is Greg Roman or Lamar Jackson, but when Lamar is most deadly is when he gets out of the pocket and makes a throw on the run. Receivers usually read Lamar Jackson well then. They get outside and like we saw with the one play, Hollywood running a deep route, stopped in the middle of the field, came back to the ball and caught it. The Ravens get a first down. Lamar gets out of the pocket and makes a play. We didn't see that enough tonight. And next year and moving forward with this Ravens offense, we're going to have to see them allowing Lamar Jackson to get outside of the pocket and try to make a play with the throw. And if he can't run, Lamar's a great runner. We already know what he can do running the ball. But let him try to get outside, get out of the pocket, have some space, and make a throw. He can do it. He's done it. They need to give him more of an opportunity with that, and I really wanted to see that. But another big thing for me with Greg Roman was the Ravens run the ball. They made some big-time throws on the drive that ended up leading to an interception and return for a touchdown. But they get the ball to the 10-yard line, 1st and goal, they throw it. They don't get anything. 2nd and goal, they throw it. Don't get anything. 3rd and goal. Well, you can't throw the ball 3 different times. I think they ran it once maybe in that set of downs. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. But I know they threw it at least 3. I can't remember if it was 4 or what. But I'm just not exactly sure why they just kind of abandon the run in certain times where they shouldn't and then throw the ball where there's everybody in that coverage. And then when they should run the ball, or at least give it a chance or go a different kind of a style, they won't do it. It just baffles me and does not make any sense to me and will never with today's game for the Ravens. But like I said, the Bills just outcoached the Ravens. Like I said, Leslie Frazier, he had a great game. And he deserves a lot of credit holding this Ravens offense to 3 points. Just insane. Like we said before, it was really windy. More kicks probably would have been made in different weather, but that's playoff football. You got to be ready for that. And Leslie Frazier, his game plan was set, and they didn't go away from it. They did everything they needed to do to win this game. And like I said before, the Bills' defense won this game. The offense played pretty well, but the Bills' defense won this game, and that was just clear to me. And really, I think anybody who watched the game will know the Bills taking away Lamar Jackson really changed this game. Now, before we go, my final point I wanted to bring up, the game that Deion Dawkins played, the left tackle for the Bills, was just incredible. I don't think he got enough credit. They put it on the broadcast with Collinsworth and Al Michaels, but he changed the game himself. He wanted the run coming his way when they did run it for the rare chance, and he just really stopped the Ravens pass rushers from making plays. There's no way to stop that Ravens front every single play. It's just not going to happen. But early in the game and even later on that big drive that the Bills had, they really gave them the first 7-point lead of the game. That was Deion Dawkins making blocks, doing exactly what he needed to. And even on a few long runs they ran his way, that was the reason. He made plays, and he played so well, and I think he deserves a ton of credit. So that was just the main last thing I want to say. Deion Dawkins just played a great game. So now that is it for this video. If you guys watched through the whole thing, I really appreciate it. If you guys liked, please leave a like. If you disagreed or whatever, comment. Like I said in my last video, I really appreciate when you guys comment or like the video, and because I like talking with you guys and seeing your guys' opinion. But if you guys enjoy my videos, a subscription, I would really appreciate it. And I will be definitely dropping a lot more of these, pre-game previews and then post-game, takeaways. So I really appreciate it. And I look forward to you guys watching my next one.